What's up, manifestation queens? This is your manifesty bestie. And you know what? The universe loves when we help each other out. So you've got to help a gal out. If you like my vibe, then please subscribe, rate, and review. But I'm not going to ask you to do this for nothing. No, I'm not. When you subscribe, you are going to do it manifestation style. You're going to subscribe and say, I am subscribing to my best life. And when you hit the 5 stars, say to yourself, 5-star life for me, because no manifestation queen wants a 4-star life. So thank you, queens. What's up, manifestation queens? This is your manifesty bestie, and I am here with Nancy Costello. And I want to, I don't know if you know this story, but anyway, I went to San Francisco, right? No, it was Madrid. What am I talking about? I went to San Francisco 2 weeks, but I went to Madrid, and I'm a disaster packer, right? So like, I always rely on someone else to have the stuff. Okay. So the toothpaste, not the toothbrush, now I'll bring that. The toothpaste, the hairbrush, the whatever it is. Like, I just think someone else will bring it. So when I go myself, I forget all the stuff that I need. So I end up like my company had sent me. I was in a 5-star Marriott hotel. I had no hairbrush, so I had to use the clothes brush, and people were like, "You're disgusting." No, people could use that on their bodies, and I was like, "It's all right." And then I came home, and I saw all these stories about the Belle Brush, and I was like, "I've got to get one." I have to admit, initially I was like, I mean, it's a brush, like it can't. Like, it's a brush. It's a hairbrush. Yeah. And then I bought it. And I came back from California, and it was in the house. And that night I went for a shower. And I looked at the box, the original box, and it says for hair extensions on the front or something. And I was like, oh, shit, I bought the wrong one. Yeah. And then I used it. Because I think on the back it says you can use it for all types of hair.
Yes.
And I swear to God, I sent you the video of me looking at the brush. I know. Like, I'd brush a strand, and then I'd look at and I'm like, what is in this brush?
I know. And that's one of the hardest things as a product we have to overcome. You can test perfume, you can test makeup, you can try a makeup brush, but we're never going to be able to give you a tester of the Belle Brush. So you really do have to buy. And our little tagline is, if you could try, you would buy.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, so it's something that, we're really cautious in overcoming on social media, is actually showing the difference between brushes. So a lot of people will have their favourite foundation brush, or for me, I love a beauty blender, the sponges. And even though all sponges look the same, they're so different. So the magic in the brush is actually the makeup of the bristles and how they work. So I do hair extensions. I'm a hair extension specialist, and the original was the first ever hair extension hairbrush available on the Irish retail market.
The first
ever, and I manifested that. I used to literally walk into retailers such as John's, Brown Thomas and Arnott's and really see my product on the shelves and said for hair extensions, because I would see the amount of people coming into our salon that wore hair extensions. I knew it was a massive market, and I could never say pop into Dunn's or pop into Shaw's and pick up a hairbrush. It was always I was recommending 3 different types of hairbrushes. So that's where the idea of the Belle Brush came. And that came when I was working from a small little room in my college apartment. That idea started. So even though it's 7 years old, the idea for the Belle Brush is almost 10 years old.
Oh my God. So like, I've never had hair extensions. Yes. So like, is it just that you need a different type of brush?
It's a softer brush. So when you have hair extensions, it's an attachment on your hair. So you need something that glides over it, that doesn't pull it. So when we launched the original, that's very much so was our market. And then people will be like, can I use it without extensions? I was like, of course. If it's good for extensions, it's going to be even better for your natural hair. And then we got a wave of parents being like, my children love your brush. And I was like, I know, it's because it's so soft. So that's when we came out with the Baby Belle. And if you see the back of that Baby Belle packaging, the slogan is no more drama. Yeah. So no more drama comes from reviews where that was the most common thing said about getting kids ready for school in the mornings. There's no more drama.
Oh, because I got the little one.
Yes.
And I use that now on my little girl's hair,
yes,
Penelope.
Yes.
But the original brush, like, after I go for a shower, and I always use conditioner in my hair because it would be knotty, I would,
Yes.
any other brush that would have, which by the way, I'd have loads hidden
Yeah.
around the house. And I could never find one,
Yeah.
right? And this one, your one, like I have it in my backpack today.
Yes.
I'm like, I am not
Losing
losing
it. Yeah,
this
yeah, yeah,
brush,
yeah, yeah.
but I'll have to get
Yeah,
more.
yeah.
But you know when you're brushing your hair and it just you literally can feel yourself dragging the knots out.
Absolutely.
They'd almost come out in the brush.
That's it,
'Cause
yeah.
but this, like, how did you actually create, like, where did you start with the creation of how, because when I was looking really closely at the brush, I was like, okay, there's like a plastic piece and then there's all
Yeah.
these little things around. I've never seen
Yeah.
anything like it.
So this is where I suppose, and something I want to share a lot more of, is the actual creation of the bristles. So the plastic ones are the nylon bristles. We've made them extra long and much more narrower. So the actual diameter of the nylon is so much thinner than any other brush on the market, which makes it flexible. Also, how it's tipped, the tops of it, they're very narrow tips. If you look at them, they're not a big ball. Okay, they're very narrow tipped. I was only actually speaking to my factory this morning about them possibly changing the colours for hopefully bringing out the baby Belle in a different colour. But we were
I'd
talking.
love that.
I know.
Imagine
yeah.
if you make them loads of color.
That's it, yeah. But it was the process of how to do that, when we were speaking about them, and then the actual amount of the natural bristle brush. So the black bristles.
Yeah.
So our smoothing brush, that has like nearly double the bristle of what the original has. And that's what gives it that really clean swipe. So we are very heavily involved in the actual manufacturing of the brushes. Even though the original, the actual shape of it has been around since I think the 80s. That's not anything of, people will say, oh, it's similar to that one. I'm like, absolutely it is. If we were to create our own mould, our own actual handle, minimum quantity orders would be like 80,000 at a time. So that would then hike the amount of the brush up. And I'm like, it's not the handle that's special, it's in the brush, and that's where we
But I love the brush.
Yes.
I love everything about it.
yeah.
I love the color. I
Yeah.
love the branding. I
Yeah.
love the feel. I
Yeah.
love, so
Yeah.
it's an amazing brush. How did you
Yeah.
go from your bedroom in college, visualizing it, manifesting it, seeing it in the shops, to being like, I'm going to make this happen?
Yeah.
And like, was it money from being in the working in your own?
Yeah.
You own your own salon, do
I
you?
own my own salon,
Yeah.
in the west of Ireland, in Galway. So I've had my own salon now almost 10 years, So that's where obviously the idea stemmed from. But in terms of the Belle Brush, I really just saw a gap in the market. And because I have a degree in event management and PR. So I had a little bit of background in sourcing and marketing, and I'd be watching these things. But when I was working from my college apartment, I couldn't sell products. I couldn't actually physically, you wouldn't even really buy hair care online. That was a thing. You just wouldn't 10 years ago. So I started getting my own things in. Like, I developed my own microbead for putting on extensions. I was one of the first people to do a specific type of bead. Then I got hooks with a hairbrush manufacturer. So I flew over to Italy to meet them at the trade show, which now is very widely known, called Cosmoprof. So we started working and sampling with a manufacturer, and I always wanted to get to a different manufacturer, but their minimum quantity orders were way too big. So we slowly started to build up from them, and now we're manufacturing in Korea, and the factory we are with are like one of the best.
And I
literally.
never knew anything about Korea until I started stalking Amy Connolly, and she gets her beauty products there, but I didn't know it was a thing.
Amazing. Yeah, absolutely. So like, their attention is just next to none. Like, attention to detail is just incredible. Standard of their work, absolutely. So the factory that we work with would be, when you get knowledge within the beauty industry, I actually only found this out on Friday. Do you know that pretty much all designer sunglasses are made in the one factory? There's actually one company that own them.
Really?
Yeah. So kind of similar when it comes to hair brushes that are your top notch. So like, there are some hair brushes made in our factory that are selling for like €300. And yeah. So we're very, very, very proud, and very, I suppose we know that we have some of the best.
Some of the best, and
Yeah.
it's amazing.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
I've used the product now, so I can genuinely say I absolutely love the brush. Did you get, and then how did you, the branding and the boxes, did you go somewhere separately for that?
No. So my best friend and I own the business together. We're partnership in the business, and we are the complete opposites, like literally the complete opposites. So Emer was in college. So I'm 32. So started this business when I was 23. She was in college and she was studying web design and all of that. So we literally made the Belle Brush website together. We had no experience whatsoever. It's like a little picture that, this is no word of a lie. To get the picture, we hung it with a piece of string from my kitchen ceiling light and put white pieces of paper behind it and took photos of it. That was our cover photo. You would never know, but we were so clueless and we had no money. We had absolutely no money. And we done everything from scratch. So one thing that really stands to us with this business is we had no experience. We had no contacts. There was nobody I could ask for help. It was so new. Whereas now, if you were developing a website, you know somebody that has a website.
Well, also, you get your local enterprise office to help you out.
Yeah, there was no help for us.
Because you know what I did when I was looking for my website? I went on to Georgie Crawford and I saw at the bottom who made her website, and now he's the guy who made mine. So back then you wouldn't know.
It wasn't even Shopify. There was nothing. So what I feel really stands to us, it has taken a long time to where we've gotten to. Sometimes I really do, and if anyone is thinking of starting their own business, it's not the advice that I had, but go try get experience somewhere else. We really done it from scratch, and because of that, it's taken a long time. So people would say, "Oh, it's doing really well." My answer is, "It's about time it's doing something," because it's been a long time.
Yeah, because I would look at you, and I just came across your page and your products recently.
Yeah.
And I just see all these stories of how it came about. I was like, oh my God, she's just exploded. Look at this. But you're saying like this really started
7 years ago.
But how is it working with a best friend?
Amazing. Yeah, it's incredible. So our business is very much so a tight circle. My best friend Emer is the partnership, so we own 50-50 of the Belle Brush, and my husband is warehouse manager. My other best friend is brand manager for one of my other businesses, and I love it like that. Yeah, my team are my real team.
So do you have a warehouse and do you ship them yourself then?
Yes, we do everything ourselves. We do all of our distribution ourselves. We have a huge warehouse that our other businesses operate out of as well. So we're in a very unique situation. I call it like the Belle business. We have Belle Hair Salon, so that is where we physically do hair.
Yeah.
We then have Belle Hair Professional, so we retail our extensions to other salons. So other professional salons can come and buy our brand of hair extensions.
So you've created your own hair extensions as well.
Yeah, so that's a whole other business in itself.
But it's still part of the same.
Yes and no. Even though it's Belle, like we still very much so separate them.
Okay.
They all have their separate sets of accounts. They're all different shares and things like that. Yeah.
Interesting.
Then we have, of course, the Belle Brush. And then we are developing a new brand called Invisibelle, which is our clip-in extensions. So that's getting its whole other website. So we do a lot of business to business, customer to business. There's a huge amount going on. So our warehouse is our hub. So we'll have orders for Brian Thomas going out there. And we'll also have orders to our customers who are buying a shampoo and conditioner. We'll also have orders to salons going out there who aren't necessarily buying the Belle Brush, but are buying the hair extensions. So yeah, there's
and it actually makes sense because I have my products in autofulfill in Galway.
Yeah.
And if you have so many products and so many different things, it's actually what they call a different SKU.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you'd have like
Yeah.
a ton of them, and everything,
Yeah, we have
like
thousands.
everything costs you. They
Yeah.
pull something from the shelf, and it's a
Exactly.
cost.
So
and
we looked at that, for
Yeah.
example, Autofulfill. What we get Autofulfill to do, and they're an incredible company, and I would recommend anyone who
Yeah.
needs them to look into them. We get them to pack our Christmas gift sets. So our Christmas gift sets will come in flat packed. We will get in our Belle Brushes without the packaging. We will get in our bobbins without the packaging. We ship it all to Autofulfill. They pack it and send it back to us. So up only until last year, we were doing all the packing ourselves. Whereas then I was pregnant, I was like, I am not packing 7,500 Christmas gift sets.
Oh my
It's
gosh.
just not happening. We used to do it. We used to put movies on and just
That's
pack there.
amazing.
Yeah, so
like
after
that sort of quantity.
Yeah, so it's once again, it's been a journey, you know, like our profit margins are so small with our products. It's not as easy as going, let's do Autofulfill to do the whole shebang, you know. It just wouldn't be worth it.
Yeah, for me, I have Autofulfill. They were actually the sponsor of the first season before I ever. Yeah, and
amazing.
they're amazing to
They're
work
fantastic,
with.
yeah.
They even took me on the basis that they were like, "We like you, Yvonne. You're not making enough sales to really be in our fulfillment center, but we think you are going
Love
somewhere,"
that,
which I
yeah.
thought was really
Absolutely. A human side of it.
Yeah, and I would not be able to do the packing, and well, I'd pack them myself, but they ship them out and post.
Yes.
I wouldn't be able to do it.
Absolutely.
I was going to the post. I'm working, like I just would
Totally,
not
yeah.
be able to.
Yeah. And
to do
they're
it.
all things that, you know, they're decisions you make at the start of your business. So if we were solely doing the Belle Brush, well, then maybe we might go with it. But there's so many, as you said, SKUs. Like our warehouse is huge, you know, to put that under somebody else's just makes no sense, you know.
Are you always a manifester? Like, where did the
Absolutely.
visualization and stuff at really young, you know, going into shops and seeing your brushes?
So I really thought about this on the way up in the car. You know, I was like, where did it come from? And it was my mum.
Okay.
And it was the word believe. So much so, I have it tattooed on my foot. Would not recommend, and I'm currently getting it lasered off.
No, don't.
Yes, I am.
Don't.
I am.
I just believe. Do you know this?
Yeah.
Believe is my favorite word.
Yeah.
And I've just cut across you, but just the believe word. So I posted yesterday on Instagram a post about how people were I say, tell me what you're manifesting and I'll give you a tip. And someone said they wanted a baby, right?
Yeah.
And when I struggled because I had 3 miscarriages and then I had a loss of a baby. But what I used to do was I said I was going to have twins, 2 boys at Christmas. So I bought myself a pair of pajamas that said, Christmas pajamas that said believe across them. And in the hospital, my coffee cup that I bought down in the Rotunda, the little coffee shop, said believe on it. But there is a lady that I used to work with, and she was based in the San Francisco office. And I work in a pharma company, so we're looking at like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's, and I'd always say to her, believe, just believe that it's going to happen. And it's actually my, do I have it on? Look here, it's one of my bracelets, which are not for, they're not on the website yet, but we have all of them. We have believe, grateful, let go, and manifest, which I had for you, but I left in the office. But your mom, and you have believe as a tattoo. Don't get it removed.
Yeah, oh God. Well, so growing up, that word was like part of her parenting. Nancy, just believe. Of course you can. Absolutely. But never so much so, I was never led astray of, you can get anything you want. That was not her parenting style. Definitely not. I come from a really hard grafting family. My granny was a cook. She owned her own restaurant. She set it up when she was in her 40s. Really unheard of you know, that time. My mum, she had her own clothes store and cafe. She was baking scones for other companies. Like, I saw women work really, really hard. So there was never this thing of just believe and it'll all come, you know. It would have been very much so in situations where I'd be questioning myself. Nancy, just believe. You know, just believe. So at the age of 18, I just finished my leaving cert and I won my ticket to Australia. which you should never do. Always get a return or it causes issues with your visa. And I remember on the plane having a moment. I never questioned myself. I never thought about it. I was like, I'm in the middle of this guy on the way to Australia and I'm 18 years of age. What if I don't get a job? What if I don't do this? What if... And then I was like, believe. And I manifested. I wanted a job in a clothes shop on Bondi Beach. I wanted this apartment. I wanted this. I wanted this. I wanted this. And I got it. And that was the moment I was like, oh, this really works. This really, really works. Fast forward a couple of months, I find myself in a situation where I was meant to do my farm work. This will give you chills, okay?
Yeah.
I was meant to do my farm work and it did not work out. I was brought into the middle of nowhere. You talk about how you have somebody coming on the podcast with near life death experiences. This was one. This was scary. And I got to the farm and within 3.5 hours I was like, bring me somewhere, get me out of here, get me out of here. And they were like, no. And I was like, no, you got to get me out of here. I had no, just remember this was going back, there was no iPhones. I had no internet.
Did you just feel unsafe?
Oh, they were putting me in a house that had no windows on the farm. It was beyond comprehensible.
To live?
To live. It was so shady, okay? And I remember saying to the father of the farm, like, I need to go. And he actually just like picked up his shotgun and held it beside him for intimidation. And after kind of begging anyway, the daughter, who said she had been in Ireland, came back with her fiance, was like, get in. And we drove for like maybe 4.5, 5 hours to the closest town and they just dropped us off. And I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do? This is crazy. Got reception. Anyway, I've never told this story barely to anybody. But from a manifestation point, I'm now walking down the street of this like small town where it's all kind of truckers and it's a town you pass through. And there's this shop that's empty with just a TV in the window that has The Secret on it. I had nowhere to belong. It's just playing The Secret. You know the ones you'd see on YouTube?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, this is a sign. This is exactly like where I'm meant to be. This is the universe telling me it's okay. And like people might think you're a little like Lula. Yeah. But until it happens to you. And then I was just like, it's cool. I'm good. I'm where I'm meant to be. Crazy story. Make a really good story, but
it's really crazy that the daughter put you in the car and
Mm-hmm.
drove you that amount of time, so she knew. What the hell were they going to do?
It was just...
Was there anybody with you?
There was somebody with me, thank God.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was somebody with me, but it was just the wildest experience. Like, it really was. And like, when I think back of just, not even having internet, you know, that at that time, there was like, I had an old block phone, like, the house was up on stilts and oh my God. And yeah, it was an experience, but you know what? Tough times make hard people, and I've been through lots of tough times, and sometimes I think back and I'm like, it's not as tough as that, you know. At least I'm safe. Yeah, it was crazy.
At least you're safe.
Yeah, it was crazy.
That's crazy. So when did you leave Australia then and come home and start the hairdressing?
So I done a year in Australia and that really moulded me. I was actually a milkman. I know. So I used to do door knocking.
Well, in the
sales.
sunshine.
Yeah, in the sunshine. I used to knock on your door and it was, hi, my name is Nancy. I'm calling from, you know, this company. And I would be like, it's 100% Australian produced, you know, goods, except for me, obviously. And, you know, you'd get a laugh. And I used to just door knock. So once again, I met so many different types of people. I saw so many different types of situations, the good, the bad. And I was on commission only. So I got to work hard. So there was weeks where I have one picture of myself where my face is just so swollen because all I lived on was pasta and butter. I could not afford anything else. Out of my own wrongdoings as well, like. But it really taught me about money. It really taught me about how hard you had to work because I had weeks where I was making a lot of money. And by the end of it, it was all gone. and that was just through living. That wasn't through a lot of fun or anything. That was just through living. And little things of when I moved down to Melbourne, I was like, oh my God, I have to buy a mattress and a duvet and this, that and the other. And then all of a sudden, oh, my wages aren't my wages. And it really taught me a lot because I was 18 years of age. Yeah. I was very young. I was very, very, very young. So then when I came home, I just remember being so grateful. I had this incredible experience, but I remember this feeling of safety.
Oh my God, it's so crazy that you're saying that, because I literally this morning started putting a reel together about, and I'm going to post it tomorrow, right? And it's basically me and my kids from Sunday. We got up in the morning, we went for a second coffee, we went for a coffee, then we went to the playground, and then we came home. And I said, you know what? I'm going to do this reel about if you have slept in a safe home, if you have been able to bring your kids to get a baby chino, if you're in a playground and your kids can play and they are safe, then we are lucky. Because I was watching a documentary about the Klitschko brothers, which are in the Ukraine. They're two big boxers, and one of them, Vitaly, I think his name was the mayor of Kiev, or I don't know if he still is, but he was. But anyway, they were talking about the war. Yeah. And in one of the parts, he was saying, we're going to make a playground here for the kids. And they were showing the kids, and they were crying with different things and sounds. And I was like, we are so grateful. Lucky.
Yeah, absolutely. So lucky. And like that safety is like, you just have to acknowledge it. Yeah. And that's so important. You really have to acknowledge that. I was recently somewhere where we went for a weekend away, and it was in a city centre, and I was like, I just don't feel safe. Like, I just don't feel, I'm watching my bag, I'm watching my son in the pram, just a little bit on edge. And I came home to my little Galway in the west of Ireland, and I was just like, oh, I could give out about the weather all day, but like I feel safe, So yeah, I think that's something that like my mum always taught me as well, is be grateful. That was something, and that's something I think you have to teach yourself. Like, I really do. It's like, I always say when people are like, oh, how are you today? I was like, today I've chosen happiness. That's my feeling for today. I shouldn't be, because this has gone wrong, or we've had a leak, or I've just been told this. Whereas like, I really do think sometimes that our thoughts and our feelings are choices. Sometimes, not all the time, obviously, but sometimes I do. Yeah.
No, I 100% believe. And it's when I had John Blakely on, he said at the very end of the podcast, he was like, you choose your thoughts.
Absolutely.
And you're the only, and I appreciate people go through tough times. I understand that. But the reality is that there's a lot of neuroscience about gratitude helping you reframe any past trauma and any future trauma. That's how Paws Penny was created. Yeah. It's after the loss of the baby. My first product was gratitude, because I was like, I need to go back.
Absolutely.
Because there's always something to be grateful for.
Absolutely. Yeah, there
you
really is.
You sound really intuitive as well. Do you go a lot on gut? Because like you seem to trust your gut, and you seem to be quite intuitive. Would you agree?
With a lot of work.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I do a lot of work on myself, and I'm very mindful of the place I have to be in my head. So like I choose never to have the radio on. Why would I listen to sadness and this and that to get in on my head that day? Because it really will get in on my head. If I hear something awful, like that clings on to me. So I have to be mindful to be this intuitive, positive person. So that's where I think, our thoughts are sometimes decisions.
Yeah, I actually struggle with that a little bit as well, because my husband always says to me, I'm like, oh my God, this happened. He's like, you don't know them, Yvonne, but and this is where I struggle a little bit with what's going on in the world.
Absolutely.
And I feel like I want to say, like, this, like I said to my husband last night, how do we live in 2024? And there's people, we tell our kids not to fight. Absolutely. We tell our kids not to shut, and there's fight. Yeah. But I can't post about it constantly, or I can't watch it on the news because I literally could not function.
Absolutely, yeah. And that is, like I only said, to my husband the other day, I was like, how can nobody do nothing about this? that for me is incomprehensible. I'm like, how not one human, like not one, all these powerful things and this, that and the other. And yeah, and then I let it consume me, and I'm like, I then have to wake up the next morning and choose happiness because I'm going into my clients and I don't want to give them an upset Nancy because of my thoughts.
Yeah.
I want to give them my best. I want to give my son the good morning, you know, like, and so once again, it's my, I've learned to try shut certain things out and go, right, what journey am I going down today?
Yeah, and sometimes I find myself like I find it hard because I'm like, but Yvonne, if everybody was like you and they said they didn't want to post about it or they didn't want to do this about it, then nobody would be talking.
Yep.
But then I just have to say, okay, look, you do your bit by donating, or you do your bit by like trying to spread love and gratitude and kindness. Yeah. If you want to manifest your dream life, then what are you waiting for? Pause Penny has created an amazing manifestation box to help you manifest your dreams. It is backed by neuroscience. 7 simple steps, and the box tells you how to do it all. Grab your manifestation box at pausepenny.com and use the code podcast20 for 20% off. But we do have one person that was shouting about it that seems to be all over your brushes.
Yes.
Nicola Coughlin.
I know.
Okay, just tell us, how does somebody with amazing brushes, so she deserves to be using those brushes in her fabulous hair, but how do you get someone like that to shout out your amazing products?
So Nicola's been a client of mine for years, and I recently just done a video on this. Nicola was working in an optician's in my local town, and she came as a client to my salon, and I always ask.
This is pre-actress,
pre-Dairy Girls, and I always say, you know, what do you want to do? Like, are you in college? Oh, what kind of teacher do you want to be? What kind of nurse do you want to be? But I really genuinely love getting to know people, and it's probably why I got into being a hairdresser. And she was like, I really want to be an actress. And I was like, oh my God, I've never heard that before. Tell me more. And she was like, you know, I'm doing acting school, and it's tough, and it's this and it's that, and got into a really deep conversation with her. And I remember the moment so clearly. She walked out of the salon, and I was like, she's so special. There's something about her aura, her kindness. Yeah, I just was like, she's going to make it. I had no doubt about it. No, not in a million years did I think that she wasn't going to be an actress. Because you know the way sometimes you'd hear, oh, and yeah. So then the next time she came in, it was the day before Dairy Girls was launching on, I think it was Channel 4. And she was getting her hair curled. And I was like, Nicola, this is amazing. She was like, I don't know how people will perceive it. And we took a selfie, and I put it up on my Instagram, and I was like, everyone, you need to go follow Nicola Coughlin. She is a client, this, that and the other. Because remember, nobody had even seen her face as such on the big screen. Now, she had done, obviously, acting before that, but this was the big break. And I remember watching her on it and just being so proud, because you do develop these really strong connections with your clients. And yeah, just to see her grow and grow and grow and grow and literally watch somebody live their dream is such an honour. It's such an honour. So Nicola put the baby Belle in Vogue. In Vogue magazine, she has, she brings it everywhere. She's our best salesperson ever. Literally, I said that to her. I was like, Nicola, honestly. But she put it in Vogue along with, we were used on the set of Bridgerton. We were every hairdresser on Bridgerton. She was like, you need a Belle Brush. So I saw the article mentioned. I was like, oh my God, they've linked the Belle Brush. Oh my God, I looked on the website, there was people on it. And then I was like, it's a video. It was Vogue Beauty Secrets. Literally the biggest platform she could have put us on. And I then done a TikTok on it that then went viral. And our business just exploded. And the sales from we had more international sales in one day than we had in 7 years.
Oh my God.
Yeah. It was like...
And you ran out of stock, didn't you? Did you run out of stock?
So the smoothing brush, our newest launch, it's been a roller coaster. We have, I think as of this morning, 42 left out of one of our biggest orders of brushes we have ever done. We sold out in less than 24 hours the first time. And then the second time, instead of getting our stock by sea over here, we had to literally be like, do not put it on the boat, fly it over. That was meant to last us till Christmas, and then we're nearly sold out again. Yeah. So she has truly, she's I call her my guardian angel. Like, what she has done for us has been incredible. Like, our business, where even the website, just the website sales are up over 130% on last year. Like, it is mind blown. And the opportunities we're now getting, no different than sitting here, you know, it's like, wow. But I also feel like that has been a manifestation. You know, it wasn't like, oh, Nicola will put us in Vogue someday, but it was I remember I used to sit there and think, oh my God, what would be the result if a video went viral? And now we've had 3 go viral. So it's once again, I am just so incredibly grateful. And that's the word I use all the time. Like, I am so grateful to her. I'm so grateful for our community on our socials. I genuinely feel like I could go to some part of the world now and like go into somebody's house and be like, can I have dinner? I'm like, yeah, no problem. We just we're growing an incredible community. Yeah.
Is she a manifestor, do you know?
I would say, I don't know what I use the word manifesting, purely because I don't know, but I think she had a direction that she wanted to go and she got there.
And that's manifestation.
And that's manifestation. And I said it in my video, I think if you're a good person, I think you have to be. I think if you have a good work ethic and you are grateful for the journey, you'll get there.
Yeah. And you don't, and I think... what I think in business as well is that, like you said there, this has been 7 years, 10 if you include the thoughts, right? Mm-hmm. This was not overnight. No. And I'm sure at one point or 2 points or 3 points, you were like, my God, it's easier for me to just be in the salon.
Oh my God, throw a newborn baby into it all then as well. Like, that was really tough. So my little Baba is 15 months old now, Finley, and that was a real moment for me when I was pulled from the salon. I go from working 6 days a week to being at home with my little baby. I had a section, I couldn't drive. My husband's part of the business, he had to be in work, and I'm sitting in my house on my own. I have no experience with kids, and I'm like, oh my God. And I had thoughts of, I won't call it postpartum depression. My term for it is postpartum numbness. I'm like, what if I lose everything? What if I can't go to work? What if I have to stay at home? It was just all of these negative thoughts really got in on me, and I threw myself back into work. So I gave birth on the 20... I'm trying to think of my date that he was mentioned, the date I had the C-section, 26th of May. And I done an event in Brian Thomas on the 20th of July. And I look back at that time and I'm like, oh my God, Nancy. And I just want to give her a hug, because I went the opposite. I need to go back into work. I need to not lose everything. I need to do this. So the last year I've really had to work on myself. But now I'm like, all of that really tough time, I'm now in this most beautiful place of like happiness. Yeah. You know? And I'm choosing the things I really want to do. And I'm choosing I'm not going to do that today now, because I'm going to have a great time with my son. You know? So yeah, I think you have to go through some rocky terrain to get to where you want to be. But it wasn't an easy time. Definitely not.
Yeah, and I struggled actually with my firstborn as well, because I had so I had 3 miscarriages before him, and then when I was pregnant with him, the company that I was working for was shutting down, so they were making me redundant. And for such a long time, in my career, I identified with it. Like, I'm Yvonne, the lawyer,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
So then I actually had him, this rainbow baby that I wanted so much and spent so much time like being so sad over all the losses. And then he came and I was like, I was redundant. So I was out looking for another job. I was constantly like, and I was like, I need to get back to work. Not that I had to because my husband was working. It was fine. And I was just like, oh my God, this is what it's like being a mom. This is shit. Why does everybody want to be a mom? Like, this is hard. I'm tired. I can't do anything I want to do because I'm used to being so, I wouldn't say selfish, but kind of selfish, going to the gym when I wanted to, working as many hours as I wanted to. And then all of a sudden I had this baby that I wanted, but I had all these feelings of, oh my God, like this is it. So it is. And you've got all these hormones.
So many hormones and so many thoughts. And I also truly believe in, like, I'm so open in saying this. I think some people are built to be a stay-at-home mom and some people aren't. And I am not meant to be a stay-at-home mom. I go to work to get a break. So stay-at-home moms, you are incredible. And I like want to be minded by you, literally. But that's when I started being vocal about it, and I started to be like, I'm a great mom, but I am not just a mom. I am also a mom to my business. And I then took those two jobs and I was like, right, I'm giving my all to my son. I'm giving my all to my business. I now need to give my all to myself. And I started Pilates and it has changed my life because I now feel like I'm not going to say the word balance. I don't believe in balance, but I am looking after the three things that mean the most to me: my family, myself, and my business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I started boxing. I went back boxing because I did kickboxing in college, and I went back boxing 3 months after I had my son. And I was like, and even when I was exhausted, I went and I showed up and I was like, this is for me. And it I just needed it.
Absolutely.
But I hear you because I am not. I also look back. Sometimes I think to myself, God, am I ever going to look back on my life and think, geez, I should have spent more time with the kids in a sense. But I'm just not a good stay-at-home mom.
Yeah, and that's okay. You need to remember that. That is absolutely okay. And that's the battle I think you have after your first kid.
Yeah.
You know, that I think I've got my one, but I think that it's like, oh my God, this is meant to be. I've been told and society tells me that I should be the happiest I've ever been and I should want to stay at home. And I should be wanting to, no. Oh my God, I was like, no. I had a cot in the warehouse. In the warehouse that I would bring to work. Don't get me wrong, our warehouse is beautiful and it was a little office and it was nice and warm and stuff. But I am not one for staying at home. No way. Oh my God,
and it'll
no
make
way.
you a better parent as well because if you get that thing like we talked about earlier that I said when I'm working on Pause Penny, the podcast, I'm like in my flow.
Yes. Oh my God, absolutely.
And then you're happy.
Yeah.
And
if I'm in my flow, my son's going to be in his flow and we're going to be flowing together.
That's
how it's going to work.
Is your partner a manifester or what's he like?
He is not a manifester, but I manifested him.
Did you? Okay,
so
tell us all.
Yeah, I got it good. My husband is a legend. Like, he is just the kind of complete opposite to me. He's really like calm, steady, collective, straight mind, and that's it. And a fantastic father. And that I'm so grateful for because he allows me to be me. And that's something that I can see in our relationship. Like, are you going to your Pilates? Amazing, perfect. I'll make sure to have dinner. He really knows how important that time is. And he knows as well that I am running the businesses. Like, I employ 14 people. Yeah, so every morning that is in my mind, like, I got to work hard to keep these jobs going. So I feel that, and all of my team know that. I also have an epic team. And something I said about Nicola's following as well, I said, your vibe attracts your tribe. And I really feel that. I would say my team at the moment are just top notch. And they also know the importance, and it sounds so silly, but they know the importance of that class for me. Like, I don't feel guilt when I'm like, oh, I'm finished now and I'm heading. They're like, oh, amazing, have a great class. How was it? You know, it's that. So, yeah, I've good people around me.
And when you say manifested your husband, would you have actively Come on, tell us. There's so many people who follow me that are like, I want to manifest someone. And a lot of people are making the mistake that I did. And they're like, oh, it's this guy, but he's now dating somebody else. I'm like, would you stop choosing the person and choose the qualities? Because for me as well, I say this a lot, I actually did manifest my husband for sure. He wouldn't have manifested me for sure anyway. But like, I went to California last week. Part of it was business. Part of it was down to see my sister in LA because I grew up in LA. I knew 100% when I leave, all 4 kids are going to be fine.
Yeah.
All the laundry is going to be done. Yeah. The house is going to be spotless, unlike when he comes home when it's with me. All the kids are going to have eaten really healthy, unlike me. I'll give you Weetabix, lads. Would you have some crackers? There you go. Like, he's really, really brilliant. Yeah. He sent me pictures like, oh, we're out in Avoca. We're having having a little baby chino or whatever together. He's really, really capable. But I had put down the qualities that I wanted. Yeah. So I was like, I want him to be loyal, like trustworthy, financially independent, and really wanted him to understand my career and how important it was to me. So did you actively think about what you wanted in a person?
I think our husbands should chill together at the sound. I put down the characteristics, absolutely. For me, being a really good dad was one of them. That's something that, was always in the back of my mind. I literally wrote out, I was like, has a beard. Like, characteristic, like, doesn't play this kind of sport. Because I was like, if they play that kind of sport, I won't say the sport.
I know it's golf.
No, it's actually not.
I told my husband he's like, he plays football, and he's like, I'm like, you're not allowed to play golf because you'll be gone all day.
Yeah, and I was like, I knew that, like, I wanted to work really hard and that the weekends would be, I wrote it, and do you know what? It wasn't like sitting down, I'm going to manifest my husband. I was single, I was young, I'd just come out of a, college relationship. I wasn't even looking, I was just like, what do I want from somebody? I write down all these things about my career, and at the time I was doing extensions for my spare bedroom, and I was big into manifesting. I was literally like, where's my salon? I knew exactly where my salon was going to be. I knew exactly the chairs. I knew I was putting elephant's breath on the walls. I knew everything. So it was just one day, I literally just wrote down that,
Yeah, see, when you write it down, though, you focus the brain.
Totally, yeah,
and
absolutely.
you figure out what you want, and you figure out what you don't want.
Yeah. And I met him in Tesco car park.
Did you? What happened?
Yeah. Oh,
like, that's
what?
A guy with the beard.
Yeah.
The universe had like a star above his head. And how did you meet him in Tesco? Like, I actually did meet my husband, who my best pal had been trying to get me to meet for 2 years.
Yeah.
She was telling me about this guy. She was like, you need to meet this guy, and saying the same to him.
Yeah.
And then I went out one night and I met him in a bar. So it just happened to be him.
Yeah.
But that was a bar. Like, Tesco car park? What?
Yeah. Do you know what? It's a story in itself. That's for a different podcast. But yeah, we're together now, God, almost 10 years, you could say. Yeah. When you say almost 10 years, could be 7 or it could be 11. Somewhere around that. Yeah, somewhere around that, yeah.
Somewhere around there.
And yeah, he's just the best. Yeah.
And when you talk about manifesting, for you and how it's enabled you to be successful, what would you say to someone who wants to start a business or meet somebody or just get out of a rut and start manifesting their life?
I think getting out of the rut is really hard, and that's something I struggle with all the time. Like, I have ruts where I struggle, like, to get out of bed, so I hate this false thoughts that oh, I jump out of bed every day and I'm like, I own my own business, like, giddy up. It's not like that at all. I really have to, as I said, wake up and choose happiness, or wake up and choose work ethic, or wake up and choose motherhood, or wake up and choose, like, I really focus on what hat that is going to be that day. And I think that is manifestation. I think that by waking up and that thought of, what am I going to give my energy to today? And then you really zone into that. And especially what I've learned is having a couple of different businesses, I can't do them all at the one time. I can't manifest success. It's too broad. It has to be, I am manifesting. At the moment, I'm manifesting our biggest Christmas ever. You know, I have the number in my head I want. So that's for the Belle Brush. But then I need to manifest, we're launching a new website for Invisibelle. I'm manifesting, we're hopefully building in a software that's quite unusual that will give back to the people that recommend us. So like, I need to manifest that doing well. So it's really about putting my focus in very specific areas. And I think that's important. But those areas are also sometimes myself. You know, I need to, like, losing the baby weight was really hard. I'm 15 months on and I'm just mentally there to do that.
Yeah, sometimes these things just take time.
Exactly. So to say, how do you get somebody out of the rut? You can't. There's nothing you can say, do. I personally just don't think you can get somebody out of a rut. You can help, but that person has to get themselves out of that rut.
Totally.
Yeah.
You have to pull yourself
Self
out.
Yeah.
And at some
Yeah.
point, you just have to have the discipline. I'm sure there's times
That's
that
the
you don't
word.
even want to go to Pilates. You're like, I
Absolutely,
love
yeah.
this class. I know
Yeah.
I'll feel better, but I just
Yeah.
don't want to go
Yeah.
today.
And discipline, if you ask me, like, what's the one thing that I think has gotten me to where I am, that's the word I would use. It will be discipline. Absolutely, shadow of a doubt. And more so when I was younger. I was even more disciplined. I can safely say there was nobody that at that time was working. Well, I won't say nobody, but I know I worked as hard as I could.
Yeah, I was the same. The same, like discipline, and like even in stuff like the gym, I used to be so consistent.
Yeah.
But then as I just find as I have more excuses now.
Yeah.
But I need to remember, stop making excuses because it's your health
But
or
I
whatever
think
it is.
You don't always have to be on that high level of, I'm constantly doing my best.
Yeah.
I think it's so, and that's what the last year has really taught me of, give it your all when you're giving it. And if you don't want to give it, whatever you give is your best that day. So I'm really kind to myself now. I wasn't. I used to be like, you mustn't be good enough. You mustn't be working hard enough. Your business mustn't be better than that one. You mustn't. And I'm like, no, I now know that when I have to choose my absolute highest determination, and actually, I want to do nothing today. And that's okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Literally.
What
Yeah.
do you ever feel like, will you always have, what's the goal? Like what are you manifesting, like long term, big picture? What does that look like for you? What does your life look like?
This sounds so cheesy, but I just want to be happy. And that is like, I've gone from manifesting where I was to exactly where I am. So the things, you know, once again, that cliche saying, like, the things you once wished for, you now have, like, that is me. You know, the house I live in, the family I have, the car I have, the business I have, everything I've once wished for and I've gotten. And actually, it's happiness. And the most important word is contentment. I love being content. Like, and when you're younger, you're like, oh, I want this big, mad, successful business. I don't want a big, mad, successful business if that doesn't allow me to put my child to bed every night.
Yeah, I'm
You
the
know?
same.
Yeah. I don't want that big, mad, successful business if it's going to take away my Pilates class. Sounds awful, but that for me is like my special time. So if I'm in an office running this big, crazy business, that's not what I want.
I say the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Just even coming back from California, which was amazing because, like, I got to spend time with my sister, but I'm genuinely still struggling with the jet lag, and it's a week later because they're 8 hours behind. And I asked my son, I saw this thing on Instagram, and it said, he's only 5, he'll be 6 in October. It said, ask your children what they think about a lot when they're by themselves.
Yeah, wow.
So I said to my son, I was like, what do you think about a lot before you go to bed when you're by yourself? And he's like, what do you mean, Mommy? I'm always trying to ask these deep questions to a 5-year-old.
Stop being my therapist, Mom.
What do you mean, Mommy? And I was like, before you go to bed, and like, what do you think about when you're by yourself? And he was like, I think that like when Mommy was in California, I missed her. And when Daddy's away, I miss him too. Yeah. And I was just like, now, in fairness, I did not. I said to my husband, is it bad if I say that I didn't miss you while I was gone? I didn't really. I had a great time. I had no mom guilt.
Yeah.
But I was so grateful to come back to them.
100%. Absolutely. Yeah. And it once again, to be able to do that, like that's, you manifested that into your life too, to be able to leave, to know that they're safe, but also to know you're coming back.
Yeah.
Like it's so important. It's just... And that's maybe where motherhood changes you slightly. I would have loved to remember what I thought of before, what the goal was. But don't get me wrong, I want to be the best that I can be. And by God, the competition in my gut.
Yeah. But I did know before I became a mom. I was like, I'm going to be I had written it down. There's these things called notes from the universe.
Yeah.
And they're Mike Dooley, and on them you put in what you want.
Yeah.
And I said CEO of my own company and a white Mercedes. There's a wanting the materialistic shit back in the day, right?
Yeah.
And then it would come up every now and again. And we see you driving in your white Mercedes, beep, beep. Like, it's a very funny kind of, you get these notes Monday to Friday. They're brilliant and definitely sign up to them. They're just so good. But I remember saying I said to my husband actually yesterday, I was like, do you know what? I do not want to be the CEO of a massive company. Somebody else could do it. I want to create products, do them, talking to people, sales, marketing, podcasting. But I do not want to be the top, which I would have wanted pre-kids.
There you go.
But then that's just thinking you want this title. Whereas I just want to create products.
Yeah. And sometimes the closer you get, like, oh, I don't want that.
And you could change your mind.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
And
absolutely.
I think that's a really key thing about manifestation. Like, you could say, I wanted this, but you can change your mind.
Absolutely. 100%. And like, it's no different even, let's say, with the salon. When I was manifesting the salon, and I manifested a couple of them. Oh my God, I do not want a couple of salons. No way. I love my salon. It is my safe place. I do 1 day a week. That's for me. That tops up my energy. I literally, the clients, I'm like, oh my God, hi, how are you? Tell me a story. Like, I'm out. I get to talk to adults, because the other time I'm in the office in the warehouse. So it's funny how, it just changes, but it also changes based on your experience. Only last night I saw a piece of a TV program. They were on a 2-week cruise and they were going around, and I was like, God, I wonder what it would be like to take 2 weeks off. Then I was like, I don't think I ever will be, and that's okay. I can physically take 2 weeks off, but I will never be able to mentally take 2 weeks off. And for some people that will be a nightmare. That would be an absolute nightmare, to not mentally be able to close down your thoughts about your job. But for me, that will never happen, as long as I'm...
Well, if you're doing what you love.
Yeah. And then I was like, I just need to build my life in knowing that. So I've never been on a holiday longer than 10 days because of the guilt that it used to be like, oh, I'm away from my business for that long. So that's something I'm going to try manifest and tackle for next year, and I'm going to go away for 2 weeks.
Yes, and you should.
And I should, but once again, that is like, when we talk about what's the goal, maybe the goal is to actually be able to go away for 2 or 3 weeks, still work, just not feel guilty about it.
Yeah.
So, there's small little things in there.
It's actually really the small things.
Yeah, totally.
One of the things that I have to pull myself back from is, so I remember going for a walk with my husband. I remember the street. It was right beside the house. And I had my son and I was pregnant. And I remember saying to him, God, you know what? If you asked me, did I want anything in the world, anything from the universe, and I could have it, I would tell you. I'm so happy. I don't want anything. We just had bought our house in Sandymount. I had my little boy. I was pregnant with the little girl. And I was like, I'm just so happy. There's nothing I want. And literally within a week, the baby, she was 5.5 months, passed away. And that is something that, because right now I'm in my like, I'm just happy.
I know.
But I'm almost afraid to say it.
I get that. Yeah.
That I have to keep reminding myself. I always say this, like, I don't really get anxiety or anything like that. I do get overwhelmed, but I say this affirmation to myself when this starts to be like, you can be happy. I just say to, I think it's a Louise L. Hay one, all is well in my world.
Yes. Yeah. So such a lovely one. Yeah. All is well in my world. Yeah.
Because sometimes you feel like when you're actually good, you know, when you're in a happy place, that you're like, shit.
Yeah.
What shit is going to hit the fan?
I said something recently that only last week that I pulled myself on after. I was talking to somebody about an amazing situation, and I was like, but that's not real life. I came away from the conversation, I was like, actually, that's their real life.
Yeah.
It's just not mine, but it might be. So, yeah, it's I think you have to dissect your thoughts. You know, and sometimes what you say, and like that, you've now changed your saying, you know. But yeah, sometimes I think you have to dissect your thoughts and be like, actually, that could be my world, or
I think that's actually a really good affirmation. Just saying to yourself, that's real life.
Yeah.
That's real life.
Yeah.
You know?
Exactly.
I love that.
Yeah.
Do you say any affirmations?
Oh, all the time. Like
I'm a huge affirmation person.
All of the time. Yeah, I think it's really important because once again, your affirmations are your thoughts.
Yeah.
That's like, I listen to affirmations, not the radio. I listen, you know.
Oh, do you?
Oh, like I will, even on the way up today, always listen to affirmations. I'm also a huge believer in hypnotherapy. I do a lot of hypnotherapy. Yeah. So that will be, once again, affirmations.
And subconscious.
Huge believer. Oh, the power.
I've heard loads of things about
Incredible. The power.
Does it change your mindset, or what does it do for you?
I have hypnotized myself out of habits. I have
yourself. You're doing it yourself.
No. Oh. Sorry, as in
somebody.
I go to somebody. Yeah, somebody amazing.
You're gonna teach me this trick.
No. I will go and literally, like, myself and my business partner manifested our warehouse. We manifested the sales that would come from there. We manifested the square footage of the warehouse.
Do you do it together? Because this is something myself and my husband, right? He's not a technical manifester, but he lives in the moment. He doesn't think about the future too much. He's very balanced in what he wants in life. So like, I've read all the books, I do all the work, I say the gratitude, affirmations, visualization, but he's actually probably more advanced than I am in ways because I had to work on it, and he's just this natural.
Yes.
But also we've had different upbringings. Yeah. And you have to take that. I came from a graft to grafting. You know, my parents had to move to LA in the 80s to work, and so it's different, right? But I said to him the other day, he said to me yesterday, he was like, Yvonne, this manifesting a G-Wagon is total nonsense, ego-driven. And I was like, all right. And he was like, our son, Hoban is his name, was looking at the globe with his aunt, and he was like, I want to go here, I want to go there. And he was like, we need to be manifesting, traveling the world with our kids. And I was like, yeah, we do.
Do both.
So we do. Yeah. Why can't I have both? But we have sat down, and like, I have the Pause Penny manifestation box, and we've done it together.
Yeah.
And it's so good because I say to him, okay, so let's say we're manifesting something in particular. I say, and what do you see? And what do you hear?
100%.
It's really great that your business partner has a positive mindset. Well, you probably couldn't work with somebody that didn't.
The thing that, do you know what? She's not a big manifester. She respects me enough to do it. Yeah. You know? So even the other day it was the Lions Portal and things like that. I'm not massively into it, but sometimes I'll give it in. We were actually launching the smoothing brush for the second time. And I literally manifested the number that we were going to do. And I sent it to her. And she was like, amazing, I'll do mine now. So she definitely does believe. Yeah. But also respects my decision of asking her to do it, you know.
And when you say I was manifesting the number, do you have to just have this incredible belief in yourself, or this incredible, like, I have to, like, I don't want to say trick yourself, but it's almost like, no, this is going to happen.
100%. No doubts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
no
how do you
doubts.
remove the doubts when you're like, oh, is it going to happen? Is it not going to happen?
I still have them, but it's just like I will literally, you know, when we were doing it, like close my eyes, I'll see the number, and all throughout the day I'm like, will it happen? And I'm like, no, trust yourself. Trust yourself.
And let go. And this is why I love talking to other manifestors on the podcast, because even I had on Maureen Hoey from Mojo & Co. Journals, and I love them. And she was talking about getting this big corporate order of 1,000 journals. And I was like, that's amazing. Yeah. And literally, I was like, I want corporate orders. I want, and I've had a few. And I was like, Yvonne, let it go. I come back from California and I had 2 corporate orders. And when you say, like, you just explode and then more sales in like a day, then this, that, I'm like, that's the kind of energy that I'm like, this can happen for people.
And energy is something I wholeheartedly believe in, is energy. I think we're all energies.
Yeah.
I think everything has an energy. And the amount of time I would say to people, no, don't give that any energy. You know, I'm really like strict about it, because, and then I'll be like, we need to give this more energy, you know, and they're literally the words I will use. This needs more energy. You know, it's not time, because you could give it loads of time, but it mightn't be good energy time. So I think that you have to put energy behind it. So like, for example, anyone who has a business with the Shopify will get the cha-ching.
Yeah.
That's really powerful in my head. I'm like, I want to hear it, you know, and it's bringing in that side of it. But also the energy for me that I put in, it's not just about the number. I'm constantly looking at reorders.
Yeah.
So once again, manifestation, I'm putting numbers there and I'm putting thoughts there, but actually I want everyone to be reordering because they love the product, and that's my energy. It's the love for it.
And that's what I tell people as well, to visualize if you have a product. What I did the other day is on my home page, I just put up new orders.
Yes.
And I can see the long list, and then I just visualize this list.
Exactly.
And when I see new orders, and ironically, right, I did not ironically, but I did this thing. I was like, almost 5,000 followers on Instagram. I'm going to do, you can have 3 sessions with me, which I don't do very many one-to-ones, manifestation coaching at all. Very little. So I said, I'll choose a person on the 21st of August. That morning, I was in the hair salon, and I saw the orders come through, and I always look at the address. I don't know why. I'm just like, I wonder where the boxes are going. Yeah. And this one was going to Glasgow, and it was my first time for a box going to Glasgow. Yeah. And I said to my hair stylist, who I've been with since I was 25, so I know the bond. I was like, I'm in Glasgow! And I got so excited. That night I chose the winner, and the winner said to me, she's like, actually, I just bought a box today.
Wow.
I was like, did you really? That's crazy.
From Glasgow.
And she was from Glasgow.
Yeah. I know, because you gave it the energy. Yeah.
I was like, so that powerful. Was meant to be.
Yeah, it's so powerful. And that's where, when something good happens, I think you have spouts of disappointment and sadness, and not just because you're giving that the energy. I think that's just life.
Yeah.
But when you get your good, grasp it, feel it, be everything about it. I was having a conversation on the way up to somebody, Charlotte, who is my best friend, and she is our Invisibel brand manager. We were talking, we were overcoming this bit of a difficult situation. She was like, look, I'm just not going to give it my energy. Let's move past it. Let's do this. I was like, yep, good girl, come on. Up and at it, and it was that we could have spent half an hour talking about that. And if she was that kind of person, we would have. But straight away we were on to the good, and then we were on a buzz. Whereas if she was the type of person who'd done it, I would have come in here being a little bit deflated. So yeah, it's just what you give your energy to. So important. Yeah.
That's so great. I could talk to you all day. We're so aligned.
I could talk
all day.
Literally.
I'm going to go look up these TikTok viral videos. It's just amazing. I can't, like, I'm honestly going to be buying all these as my Christmas gift sets for
thank
sure.
you. Yeah.
So that number is, I'm telling you,
Yeah.
you'll get there manifesting that big number.
Absolutely,
I'm
yeah.
wishing this, like, everybody go out and get these products because they are just incredible. So well done.
Thank you. Yvonne.
Well done
Thank
to you. And, yeah, manifesting big things.
Absolutely.